Hey Doug, how are you today?
Morning, or hello, how are you today as well?
Yeah. It's I don't know what the hell it is. It's a beautiful day today though. I do know that.
Yes, it is. I'm on vacation, so
Oh wow. Where are you?
Myrtle Beach.
Oh, good for you. Good for you. What's the is it here? It feels kind of cool. I don't know what the temperature is, but I'd be surprised if it was 70. Maybe it is.
It's 64 when I checked about half an hour ago.
Oh wow. Yeah, so it's probably similar here. Really good wind blowing. It's unusual to have at least from my experience here, to have a lot of wind and it be totally sunny. Normally, it's cloudy and it's windy, and it's sunny. It's very calm. So I don't know. Hard to say. Well, someone just signed in as me. I don't know who that is.
Oh, I think that's me somehow.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how. Here, I'll log out and then try and sign back in.
Okay, great. You look better than I do. You look younger anyway. Doug, how long are you on vacation?
We're heading back tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, I'm sorry you have to spend your vacation with us.
That's all right. We kind of allowed for it. I missed one of the days because we had something to do, but I'll watch the video on it when I get a chance.
Yeah, good. We're trying to get these all in one playlist on YouTube so that you can find them in order. That's our plan anyway. I think we've got a chunk of them on there, but still a few more to add. So, right. Hey Karen, how are you today? Rachel, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. Took a minute to get the mute. Sorry.
No, I think it should really be the phrase for 2020 or 2021. Hey, you're muted. I know.
Definitely.
I have
I
suffered
wanted-
from it.
I wanted to pop in and say hi because I actually have to leave in just a
Okay.
minute for another appointment.
Oh, that's very nice of you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, we appreciate coming here.
Yeah, well, the video will be there hopefully, and with any luck, we'll have have it in the right place on the site so you can find it. I know Grant's working on that. Right, Grant?
Yes, sir. It's just I needed Brady to send a code over because his phone number is connected to the account, and
Ah,
then it's just been a mess. But I'm working on that today. Yes, sir.
oh, good, fantastic. We miss Brady, but we're glad we have you, Grant. Let me put it that way.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm getting in the swing of things.
Yeah, well, when you figure it out, let me know because I'm still struggling.
Yes, sir. I will do that.
We just got a few more minutes. While I have the group here, I've been thinking about email and social media, and we covered some of those tools yesterday. Today, I'm going to go into a little bit more with I'm going to call it social media selling or social media commerce, and I'm going to show you some examples. I'm also going to give you a short history lesson of where trends are and why they're trending the way they are, at least online. And hopefully it'll make sense to everybody. And Karen has heard this before, or maybe, so she might resemble this remark, as they say. But hopefully there's some new stuff also. We'll wait just another minute or two. I was thinking about, hey, what's that,
I
Karen?
just unmuted. I said it's always good to hear it twice.
I know that's why I am, people get all upset if you don't get something on the first try, but I'm to the age where
Yeah.
I'm not even sure what just happened the first time. I need to see it again. And probably even one more after that. Thank God for video that I can watch over and over, you know.
Yes.
I wish I would have had it when I was a kid in school, because man, I was not good at paying close attention, I must admit. I'm a visual learner for sure.
Mm.
So, okay, well, still got a little bit of time, but Grant, keep your eyes peeled of people coming on. I've made you co-host. But I'm going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to talk today about really social media selling, the channel of social media. You know, we talk about e-commerce a lot, obviously, and you know, often the thought is, well, that's my Shopify site or whatever, Square or whatever technology we're using, and we tend to think of it as that's where quote e-commerce takes place. But what we've learned in the pandemic and over the last couple of years anyway, is that there actually are other places where you might want to take advantage of opportunity, and a lot of it depends on where your target customer prefers, right? Maybe they prefer some other channel other than finding your website, or if you have a physical store, maybe there's a desire to look elsewhere. So, so what happened was starting roughly, actually a little bit before, about 2016, but it really accelerated in the pandemic in China. And that was that since people were basically stuck wherever they were, whether it was home or whatever, that in China in particular, and just to give you orders of magnitude, in the United States right now, depending on what source you quote, but there's in the ballpark of 250 million internet users in the United States. That's out of a population of in the ballpark of 330 million, okay, just to give you an idea. In China, there is over 900 million internet users by comparison. And that's out of a population of about 1.7 billion with a B. So there's a lot more people online there. The other thing that's interesting about China is that of that group of 900 plus million internet users, almost 400 million are considered middle class or above. So they're people who have money, disposable income, and that population online is greater than the total population in the United States, just to give you an idea. So given that kind of pressure, if you will, or that kind of interest, I'm going to share with you some things that I've learned and some examples, and we'll hopefully have a chance to talk about it as well. So I'm going to share my screen, and let's see where we go here. Okay, hopefully this will work. Hopefully everybody can see my screen that says live lobster catch. Yes, see that okay?
Yes.
So what happened in China is a kind of a unique situation. China as a country has, you know, really the majority of the population, quote, that has money, if that's the way to put it, live in urban areas, live in the towns that you and I have heard of, Shanghai, Beijing, and other places, Hanghao. There's a whole bunch of them, but generally speaking, they're large cities. And one of the issues in China is, well, what about the people that live in the rural areas? And some of them really live a long way from the urban areas. They might live way out in the desert, on the mountains near Tibet, et cetera, et cetera. So what happened was some creative people started thinking of ways to take advantage of the fact that they were rural. They might be farmers, they might be fishermen. So what I'm going to show you a couple examples of the use of e-commerce through social media that originated in rural China and really helped create, I'm going to call it, at least in China, a real boom in live streaming commerce, which I've talked about a little bit. So I'm going to show you this video. Now, this video is a fisherman, I guess is the best way to describe it, a lobster fisherman who is, well, I'll show it and then we'll talk about it. Okay. Hold a second. I just want to stop there for a second. So that individual caught a lobster, brought the lobster to the surface, and you heard people yelling and screaming, in the background. What it doesn't show is the person then sold that lobster online at that moment, and they sold it by credit card. And they shipped the lobster to the person who bought it. So I just think that's insane, personally. I think that's really unbelievable. And however, that's just one example. I'm gonna give you another example here that maybe is a little more down to earth, perhaps. Hold on a second here. Now, in China also, depending on where in China, there are different kinds of climates and microclimates. So you see different things grown there that you might not see in the US. So in this case, this is a guy who grows mangoes. Okay, so let's take a look at this one real quick.
这是苹果嘛，已经树上熟了，但是现在像这种果子是不能邮寄的，树上熟的是不可以邮寄的。 太甜了。
Okay. So, couple interesting things about this situation here. First, I'll tell you a story about this guy told me the story that they interviewed this guy and they asked him what he thought about selling his produce online. And his response was that 2 years previously, he had ridden a bicycle around his village. And now he's driving a 7 Series BMW. So this guy is selling his harvest, not necessarily one mango at a time, but he's demonstrating that he's a guy who grew it. This whole idea of transparency and seeing where stuff comes from. This is a trend in the United States as well, even though this is a Chinese example. So it's kind of an interesting thing to see the way they do it. But in this area where this farmer is, there is 100,000 people employed using their smartphone to live stream stuff like this. And they're called Taobao villages, Taobao. And they're entire e-commerce ecosystems that exist all over China. And for example, there's one town that does nothing but make shoes for Taobao. So that the entire town is employed making shoes, different parts of the shoe, and they sell those shoes on one particular site, which is called Taobao, Taobao. And that's really a website for Chinese citizens. It's not really aimed at global markets, so to speak. But it's pretty interesting to see, this type of thing. And again, thinking about North Carolina and some of you, and we have a lot of agriculture, and we have some examples, I think, that could do this. You could show, maybe you're not eating a mango, maybe you're on a tractor like Chris, or some other method to kind of humanize who you are, what you're trying to do, what your story is. And this kind of leads into the whole concept of the hardest thing to do with all of this stuff is to be discovered, right? How do people find you? It's one thing to grow your product, package it, ship it, all of that stuff has to be done. But it really doesn't matter if no one knows that you're out there. And in particularly if you're online with Shopify or some other e-commerce site, most of your time and effort is going to be spent trying to get customers to find you. And you'll hear phrases and comments like, SEO, search engine optimization. There's a lot of discussion about that. What the hell is it, right? What is search engine optimization? And there are a bunch of other technical terms like that. What all of it boils down to is helping the right buyer or a buyer find your product and your product or service. It may be on your website. It could be on these live streams like I'm showing you here, and I'm going to show some more examples of that. It could be on a partner website, if you're partnering with a grocery store, for example, or a restaurant. Some of you may be doing business with restaurants. So if you think about different ways that you can get your, your partnerships, if you will, or your introduction to what you guys are doing, that will help a great deal. Let's see. The other thing that this leads to, and again, I'm not trying to over push China. It just happens to be the place where this innovation has come from. What has happened in China now after a couple of years of this, believe it or not, on weeknights, the population actually watches live streaming e-commerce rather than television. And what's happened is the various stars or well-known personalities or athletes, whatever you want, they host these things, right? So it's a live streaming e-commerce event. It could be a farm, it could be a store, could be a tennis shoe brand, it could be anything. They'll have some kind of spokesperson or some sort of host who has some familiarity. People may know who it is, and they basically go for a half hour at a time. And between 7 and 11 p.m. every single night in China, millions upon millions of people are watching these shows, these live commerce, and buying the stuff during the show through the live stream. And I'm going to show you an example of that in a second. So I'm just pointing out, I'm not suggesting that live streaming e-commerce is going to replace Monday Night Football. But the point is, there's opportunity for growth that maybe we hadn't really thought about before. So I am going to show you one other thing from China, if I can figure out how to do it. Okay, let me see here. We'll try this one here. I'm going to pause it first.
So you want to take your business global.
So this is a discussion about two websites in China that love American companies to list their products. One is called Tmall, T-M-A-L-L, and the other is called Tmall Global. I'm going to watch a little bit of this to just show you, but I want to tell you one other thing. So in China, they have the equivalent of a Black Friday or a Black Monday, whatever the hell we call it, with Amazon and other places that, a lot of sales take place in a really short period of time. In China, this is called 11/11 day. I have no idea what it means. It's just 11/11 day is the equivalent of Black Friday. And so American companies, even little tiny companies, are the most successful on 11/11 day. So one example was a woman who makes cosmetics in Ohio. She hand makes them, just her and a couple of people, really small operation. She went on 11/11 day and sold $5 million worth of products in 23 minutes. Okay, just to give you an idea. It's crazy. And the number of people on there buying from all over the world is quadruple the number that buy on Amazon on Black Friday, just to give you an idea. So it's a very big market, and it is way beyond just Chinese. So let's just watch a little bit of this, and then I'm going to explain a little bit more of this, and then we're going to go to another place.
And sell to the hundreds of millions of consumers in China. Alibaba offers two ways. First, there's Tmall. Tmall is the largest B2C platform in China. Think of it as a high-end mall for established brands and retailers. To operate on the platform, the brand needs to have a physical presence in China. And then there's Tmall Global, created for small and medium-sized brands to access the China market and participate in cross-border e-commerce. Tmall Global allows brands without operations in China to establish a virtual storefront and engage with Chinese consumers. And even offers logistics and inventory management solutions so brands can ship products into China from their home markets. Already more than 29,000 brands from 92 countries and regions are using Tmall Global. It's the largest cross-border online marketplace in the world.
So just to kind of emphasize here, you all are perfect prospects to sell on Tmall Global. Okay, and you can sell in here, and depending on the Chinese market really prefers a lot of American product categories. I know any kind of artisan food, any kind of cosmetic, clean cosmetic as they call it. There's a whole bunch of categories, and I have a relationship with Alibaba, which is the parent, and I'm trying to work out a deal with them where you guys can get a special opportunity, if you will, a discount to do this. They're very bureaucratic, and I'm a strange animal. Accelerate Rural is really not anything other than a grant. We're not a corporation. We're not a nonprofit. We're just this grant, and they've never dealt with anyone like us before. So it's thrown the Chinese lawyers for a loop so far. But one way or the other, I'll figure out a way. But in this example, Tmall, let's just see if I can find Tmall here. Tmall, let's see, Tmall China. Okay. So I think you all can see this, hopefully, right? This is Tmall, and Tmall is the one that requires that you have a physical presence in China. It could be a warehouse, but an office. I have to have something. But I wanted to point out some of the brands that are on here. North Face, you might be familiar with. American Tourister, Crocs. Let's see if they get another list here. Colgate. I know Tesla has a store here. Nike has a store here. These are larger companies than you might normally see, in something like this. Head and Shoulder shampoo. All of the cosmetics are on here. So let's see if we can just find Tmall Global. I don't know if they have the same sort of thing or not. No, they don't have a website in American yet. But anyway, the one that makes the most sense is the Tmall Global, and that's the one where you don't have to have a physical presence in China, but they actually build your site for the Chinese market. They actually build the site that goes there and does all the translation, all logistics, all that kind of thing. But you might find some really surprising things that are available. Right, so I'm going to turn this one off. Let's see here. Stop sharing. Sorry about this. I'm obviously don't know what I'm doing here. Let's see. One participant at a time. New share. Okay. Okay. So that being said, I'm going to show you something that that some of you may be familiar with. I don't know. And this is something called comments sold, and you may have heard me talking about it. And comments sold is really designed to be a social media channel, if you will, and a mobile app opportunity. We do have a deal with these guys that make it easier for you all to do this, and they We have several people from previous classes that have signed up for this and are using it. But I want to give you an idea of what's going on here, and then we'll talk a little bit more about it. So here is somebody. This company is a small clothing store that have been in business since 2007. And they'll talk about why.
I'm Katie, and we are the Polka Dot Alley out of Lubbock, Texas. Okay, so we've done online sales since 2007. We've been on Facebook since 2011. We started Comment Sold in the fall of 2018, and from quarter one of 2018 to quarter one of 2019, our online sales grew 480% due to Comment Sold. I think my favorite feature is the ability to send push notifications through not only the app, but also Messenger. My favorite would probably be the app. People now are so savvy with apps, and
everyone loves the app.
Everyone loves to scroll and be able to see everything and get those notifications at the same time. So I would say definitely.
Just take a second here. So what Comment Sold does, they basically enable you to sell on Facebook Live and have it integrate with your Shopify store as far as inventory, backend, credit card processing, etc. And it works with other than Shopify also, but Shopify is usually the most popular. The other thing that they do, and this to me is just an incredible value, they will actually build you a mobile app for your store that goes on the Apple Play Store, or rather Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. It's a standalone app, and they cost $149 a month for both. So you get your live Facebook Live commerce enabled, and you get an app for $149 a month. Just to give you an idea, I would guess that their app would cost you at least $50,000 to build a quality app like they have that would go on a store. So I consider that a great idea. Now, the thinking is that, and I'm going to show you some examples in a second here, but the thinking is that it's really easy to get people to go to a Facebook page. That's something that people are really comfortable with. They know how to do it. They know how to join Facebook groups, yada, yada, yada. So selling from Facebook is a really good place to start, for many people. But then what they try to get you to do is move your audience to your own app so that you're no longer dependent on Facebook. If Facebook were to change its algorithms or change how they do business, that could really hurt you. And that has hurt a lot of people in the past. But if everyone is going to your own app on their phone, you've made a really good decision to be able to have both. So these women are talking about the Facebook Live and their app. So I'll finish up with them. We'll look at another one.
Definitely my favorite is the app.
Okay.
Need a website?
So I'm going to show you a couple examples, assuming we can do this. Let me see if I can find one here. Let's see here. Okay, we're going to new share. Okay, now I'm going to point out a couple things here. So I mentioned that for all of us, the struggle is really discovery. And we talked about SEO and other methodologies that can build your audience. One of the great things about a small business, it's often your relationships with your customers. As the owner of a small business, your personality, your perspective is really a big part of the attraction of a small business, I would argue. And when you get into things like SEO and other really technical techniques, it takes your personality out of it. It becomes an automated computer routine that really changes the nature of your business and the relationship of your business. So a couple of things I'm going to point out for you here. So this is a women's boutique, pink coconut boutique in a small town in Mississippi. Okay, and I don't believe it's even a college town. I think it's just some small rural town. First thing I want to point out to you is look at the number of people that follow this site. That's 1.7 million people are following a boutique in rural Mississippi. That is not done by SEO, folks. That's done by the quality of the programming that this group puts on, and the clothes obviously are part of it. We'll watch one of her things. So just one more little bit of information. Comment sold works by using the comment function of Facebook. So when you see on here, you see the word comment sold 110. Every item that's shown on the Facebook Live has an item number, 110, 111, 120, it doesn't really matter. But the customer, when they go to buy it, they actually comment on the Facebook page and they say, comment sold 110 size L. And that describes what they buy. And the comment sold software automatically bills that through your Shopify and your credit card process, so that these people actually get a link sent to them that they have to click on in order to physically buy the product. So that's what comment sold means. It takes place in the comment section of Facebook. So let's just take a look at this one here. Oh, and this one is live right now, supposedly. Let's see.
Buttons going down the front, and again, you could unbutton them and wear like a tank and some shorts under them, or leggings if you want. It has pockets, and then you want to turn around and show them the back. So it does have that stressed hem going along this back here too. It is
So I'll just stop here. So this is a live broadcast that's going on. Some of these folks do live shows every single day. They might do it at lunch, they might do it at dinner, might do it at night, but they do it every day, and it can be 30 minutes, whatever. They can have just occasional shows. It just really depends on the personalities that are involved. So this one here, they've advertised it's a patriotic party. Come shop on your lunch, and there's 3 people that are involved in it. And the engagement is really the key here. So here's somebody comment. I know this is off subject, but what kind of sunless tanner do y'all use? It looks great. So it had nothing to do with what's going on, but there's this connecting with the people. And remember, these people have 1.7 million followers on Facebook, just to give you an idea. And they also have their own app, which they do both. And this little set that you see here, this stage, if you will, is nothing more than a smartphone. Sorry, I must be dying. My battery must be dying. It's nothing more than a smartphone on a tripod of some kind, and it's using a wall that they have in a little tiny area where the models can come out, in this case with clothes. You could also have your smartphone go around and look at products that are on a table or a shelf, or any number of ways that you could use that. So that's great. My mouse has died on me here. So let's see if we can get, all right, I'm back. Okay, so let me see here. Apparently might be SOL here. Okay, well, I'm stuck. Well, sorry about that. I don't know why my mouse has died, and I'm not sure what I can do about it, other than go find some battery somewhere. There we go. Okay, so I'll just go a little bit longer in this.
the Easel brand. Are you in a small? Yes. Okay, so she's in a small.
Order. Totally up to you. I'm in the size small, running true to size. Let me fix this up real quick. And I had it double rolled.
The other thing about this that's kind of interesting is this particular one is live, but it will stay up and they'll still make sales after they're no longer live. It'll just be there on Facebook, and people might buy something for the next week. So it's pretty cool that they have that kind of capability, if you will. Now one other one I wanted to show you. Boy, my mouse is really having trouble today. Okay, let's try just one more with this one here. Let's see here if we can share this one. Okay, so this one, I'm not going to spend too much time on this because it's the craziest thing you've ever seen in your life. First of all, this is probably about 6 months old, and they've got 12,000 people following them. They're in a very rural part of Wisconsin. The individual who works for Comment Sold that I deal with told me that the woman who called him up about this was just so mean and nasty to him on the phone. He couldn't figure out what the problem was. And so he decided to kind of hang in there and see what was going on. It turned out this woman had all kinds of abuse and really bad situation. But to make a long story short, she has set up a garden center where she sells gardening tools and tips and stuff like that. And they have their live events. He went to their first live event, and a bunch of these people were sitting around a table with bottles of beer, and they just started drinking. And then the people watching all started drinking. And he said they basically were drunk out of their minds buying stuff from this woman. She's been very successful. But you know, different strokes for different folks. But here she is, you know, way up by Green Bay, Wisconsin, in the middle of nowhere, and you know, selling a lot of stuff. So that's kind of Comment Sold. There's a ton more stuff that you know, we could talk about, but the idea of having your social media, your Facebook, your Instagram, whatever it is, a place where people can buy stuff from you, but more importantly, where you can share your personality or your vision or your kind of unique value proposition that really is not just a computer number, if you will. I think that you know, and there are other tools out there also. I just Comment Sold I like because number one, I think it's relatively inexpensive, and number two, getting a mobile app is just unbelievable to me as a small business. To be able to do that for that kind of money is I cannot think of another way that that's possible, that you can do that. That's basically the other thing is the nature of this Comment Sold, as you could tell, this kind of talking and engagement is a little bit like what I was talking about they're doing in China, where they have a show, people are on the show, they might be a famous person in China, but some kind of personality, and they're that adds to the what's the word I'm looking for? The growth factor, the ability to really accelerate the number of people that know about you. And I've not run across anything with these kind of metrics, you know, where you find places. There's another one on Comment Sold that's up in rural Utah. It's a husband and wife with 4 kids, live way out on a ranch. The wife was a buyer for a retail store in a previous life. So they sell, you know, clothing. They sell $1 million a month on their site in rural Utah and have over 1 million people tuning in on a regular basis for their events. I can't think of many opportunities where you could live in the middle of nowhere and do that kind of stuff. So that's the reason I wanted to introduce you guys to it and let you know about it. And you know, if you want to explore it, you know, we have a real good relationship with Comment Sold, with their main sales guy. You know, knows our class. He's talked to our class. I'll probably invite him to speak to this class. He's great personality, and he knows a lot of these people individually. He has so many stories that half the phone call with him is these crazy stories that just make me laugh, you know, about the different things he's run across. So I get a kick out of that. I like characters and different kinds of things. So basically what I'm advocating here is thinking about ways that you can not only sell on your website, which you may already be doing, but think about other channels that you have and going live. And by the way, you don't have to go live with Comment Sold. You can just go live on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, even though you may not be able to sell directly from it. but you could still use it to build your audience, and then maybe add the comment sold later. There's nothing stopping you from doing a regularly scheduled thing. It could be, you could have commentary on stuff going on in your industry or your business or in your own community. There's lots of little hooks that you could use to build your audience. But the fact that almost everybody has a smartphone, certainly everyone has a computer, you can do this. It doesn't take a lot of money or a lot of expertise, to get started. And so I'm a fan of that approach and thinking this through, and really building your audience is really your job as new companies, as relative startups in the e-commerce channel. This is a smart thing to do. The other thing is we talked about China and selling in China. I'll be happy to connect any of you who might be interested in exploring that with the folks at Alibaba. It so happens that their US office is in New York, and everyone that works there is American. And one of them actually is a friend of mine. So we have good access to them. It's not, there's no language barrier, there's no problem. Their job is to find US companies that are interested in selling in China. They actually have a number of things even beyond what I showed you, the Tmall and Tmall Global. There's a bunch of other things that they do that might be a benefit to you. So I do know that in some cases, some of the American companies they have done business with have quadrupled their sales compared to what they were doing before they started selling in China. And Alibaba also can help you get into Western Europe, the UK, really lots of different places around the world. And the advantage that somebody like that has is to help you with all of the legal and logistic stuff that you have to know about. Instead of you having to figure all that stuff out yourself, you at least have a starting point with people who actually know what's going on and can help you, figure that stuff out. But I think that because of the pandemic in particular, things have really changed in the world of e-commerce just in the last year. The volume of business that is now being transacted online and in a lot of categories that did not do it before, right? Like groceries, for example. People did not routinely buy their groceries online before the pandemic. But guess what? They do now. I've talked to a number of people. My kids live in the DC area, and they tell me in their age group and their friends, none of them plan to go to the grocery store ever again. They're busy. It's hard for them to get to the grocery store anyway. And they're just saying, hey, you won't see me there anymore. They're perfectly happy buying online and having their stuff. And, they don't necessarily have big families. They're just themselves or one other roommate. So I understand that's just a segment, but that is something that we have. The last thing I'm going to show you is another thing that I've been working on. Some of you have heard of this before, but I'm going to show it anyway. So let's see if we can do this. All right, let me try my share screen. Okay. Now, this is a company that I have a working relationship with, and they have a market, and it's called Doorstep Market. And Doorstep Market is basically, think of it like Amazon or Walmart.com or any other marketplace. But this is a marketplace that specializes in small makers, artisans, people who make unique stuff, food and drink, home and living. There's just a lot of stuff on here, and there is no cost to list on here. So let's just see if we can find one, for example. Let's pick one here. The way this thing works, it's kind of unique. So let's just, this will be a good one, I guess. So this is looks like a ceramics person or a potter of some kind. You as the merchant control this page 100%. So what goes on it, the pictures that go on it, the description that goes on it, all of this stuff you control. And when somebody buys something from the product, you're going to ship it to them. Okay. It's going to be your sale, and you're going to get the customer information. You're going to get their email, all of that information. But they found you on this marketplace. And then you are then free, if you want to try to get them to buy off your website or buy in some other form, app or whatever, you're free to do that. But there's over 1 million people on this marketplace nationwide. The Southeast, which I have up here, South and Southeast, this is very new. It's only about a month old. So there'll be a lot more. This is where you guys will go in this section. But if you look, for example, and say we go to the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, it's a lot of really cool things are on here. Coffee. One other thing that they have that you have access to is you can do tours. You can do farm tours. You can do other kinds of experiences, and you can charge for them, and you'll get paid for the tour. So here's some that they have up in Northern California. They have some a cheese lovers tour for $195. Flavors of a particular area. So you can get creative here and find a lot of cool stuff that you can do on this platform in addition to your regular stuff. So anybody who's interested in that, let me know, and I'll be glad to help you connect with them. But it's a pretty nice site. They started in the Hudson River Valley above New York, so that's where they have most of the merchants, but they have all kinds of stuff on here that you can see. So, all right, let me get out of here. All right, so that's really all I have today. Does anybody have questions or thoughts they want to throw at me now?
Dennis, with the farm, we did a video of Tim walking in the orchard. We have Indian Springs pecans, and we had a lot of hits and interest out of the cover crops that he plants to, kind of regenerate the soil.
Yeah.
And then we did one on the catkins that are producing off the trees, and what that was. The male and female is a flower, and the catkin is the male. So that was of great interest to a lot of people. They didn't know that about the pecan tree. It has a male and a female, and it's wind-driven pollen when it, pollinates and fertilizes and produces the nut. It does not depend on bees. So that was kind of like an info. We were not selling, but we were, we'd have our website.
Right.
So that was something that you touched on this time and last time, and people are really interested in the info. But I think the movement, if like I'm gonna go out in the orchard and film the female, which has come out, the flower that's fertilized now, it's dark and in motion with the wind blowing it.
Yeah.
I think people are attracted to movement.
Yes.
On those videos more so, and I wish I had done it with the first one, but you know how you can press the photo down and the still live
Right.
movement, and
Right.
I thought that's it. I'm going to do that. So that's just a simple thing I did that got attention.
Well, I think, that's all about building your audience, right? So in that
Yeah.
case, that you're building it through information and knowledge sharing, which is really common. I mean, that's something that a lot of you do naturally in your business. I mean, that's part of what you do every day is explain to people things, particularly if you're a farmer or related, you're going to be explaining a lot of this stuff. And there are millions of people who are interested in that. So really what it boils down to is you need to have a platform where you can monetize that at the right time, right? Whether it's sending them an email later or a message or doing a Facebook Live, whatever, all of the above, you're leveraging your exposure, the people's knowledge about you, And then you are probably the place they would like to buy from when it becomes time for that. And whether it's you know, something seasonal like a crop of some kind that's only available during certain times. You know, these are all things that you can figure out. But your short example there, Karen, is really good, because people are, particularly, you know, so many people live in urban areas now. They really don't have a lot of exposure to the outdoors and to some of the things that we all take for granted living in a rural area. We have great strength and opportunity in sharing that. We just have to figure out how to support that. How can we make that work on a sustainable basis? And I believe the answer is through e-commerce and through the ability to take orders from people who really are interested in what you're trying to do. So thank you, Karen.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Anyone else have any thoughts or comments? I see there's some new people today. I'm glad to see some folks that have found us. Hopefully it hadn't been too hard figuring out where to go for these classes. Generally speaking, the link is the same every day as far as I know. So hopefully if you do have the link, even if you don't get the very current email, it'll still get you into our class. And if for some reason you have a problem, don't hesitate to email or bother us, particularly Grant. Also, I encourage all of you to check out Slack, to get on the Slack channel. This is something that some of you are familiar with and have been making actually a lot of use of that. There's a lot of stuff on Slack, a lot of information, and also the ability to connect with others in the class that you can do on a one-on-one basis if you so desire. Totally private, no one can see it other than the people participating in that particular conversation. I think that's it for today. I think we'll meet again on Monday. I'm working. I'll get out the next week's schedule. I've made some changes and I'm getting some different guest speakers, so we're a little slow on posting the what's what, but we'll get that up there shortly. It's going to be Monday at 1 again, and I hope you all can make it.
Thank you.
All right.
And just to
See y'all
interrupt,
later.
if you guys have any problems getting on Slack or Zoom or anything, don't hesitate to email me. That's what I'm here for. So just let me know.
Thanks, Grant. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
All right, bye.